ABC6 News at 5 on your side starts now.
A wild shootout in the middle of I-71. Chilling video showing a man running along the highway shooting at police, officers returning fire. This sent to our Maria Durant by sources, and it's being shared all over social media. Police coming after this man, saying that he fired at cars near Polaris.
And minutes ago, we received the video of the shootout from a new angle. This video comes to us from ODOT. You can see the suspect to the left of the screen running away from the police on the highway, and then he turns around and fires shots at the officers. Continues to run from them, fires another shot in their direction. Police tell us none of the officers was hit by the gunfire. As the suspect then makes his way to the right of the screen there, an officer fires back and hits him. Police tell us he was not killed and was taken to the hospital. It's just part of a violent 11 hours in Columbus. Police also investigating 2 separate deadly shootings that left at least 2 people dead, and that number is likely to go up.
And this all happening ahead of winter's triumphant return. Big system moving our way, bringing very cold temperatures and several inches of snow for some. Marshall's updated forecast here in just a moment.
We want to begin with that terrifying scene on 71 north of Polaris. Officers responding to an active shooter firing at innocent people as they drive by, including a school van with students on board.
Miraculously, he didn't injure anyone, but multiple cars are damaged, including this Columbus police cruiser. And have a look at this pic sent to ABC6 by sources. You see at least one bullet hole in the hood there at the front and multiple holes through the windshield, clearly aimed at the officer driving it, putting them in harm's way to protect the public. And that's exactly what the Fraternal Order of Police say they get paid to do.
There was a semi-truck that had painted on with decal that said, "This is the backbone of America," and it had a thin blue line. And that was surreal to me because that's exactly what happened. When it hits the fan and citizens need saved, officers show up, and where people are running from the gunfire, we give our lives.
Well, fortunately, no officers injured. The suspect in critical condition. And our traffic cameras and the ABC6 drone track captured this huge police response this morning, not long after getting reports of shots fired on the highway. The Delaware County prosecutor says she plans to charge the suspect with attempted murder. And tonight we're hearing from a woman who watched all of this play out.
Let's send things over to Steve Levine live near the scene with how she describes this scary situation and the latest in the investigation. Steve?
Well, first, let me tell you that I just spoke with dispatch, and they tell me that the highway expected to be closed through rush hour. BCI now investigating what Columbus police are calling an active shooter situation, which ended with officers shooting this suspect. A frantic scene many watched from behind the wheel of their car.
He was literally just doing this, literally just shooting.
Jacqueline Holstein says she had a front row seat to the highway gunfire during the morning chaos.
This guy just ran out into the middle of the road and started shooting at all the cars, and so I just ducked down and swerved. And
Jacqueline, who was on her way to work, tells us she was just 6 feet from the suspected shooter on I-71 North near the Gemini exit when he started firing a handgun at cars, striking at least 3 vehicles, including a UPS truck.
I was the front car to the entire shooting, so I had nobody in front of me. So I saw the entire thing happen, so it was very, very scary.
Columbus police say when officers arrived on the scene, the suspect was still firing into the air as he was approached by officers.
At some point during the interaction, we can confirm that the officers exchanged shots with the suspect. Unclear how many shots were fired.
Police say the suspect was taken to the hospital with a gunshot wound in critical condition. No officers and no drivers in their cars were shot. Police therapy dogs were brought in to help innocent victims caught in the crossfire as investigators checked Jacqueline's car and other vehicles for evidence from the shooting.
I'm glad that they got him, and I don't think there's ever a right time to just start shooting at innocent people, so I'm glad they got him.
Jacqueline tells me that she did examine her car. There was no damage, thankfully, she tells me. Again, BCI now investigating this. Columbus police say part of the investigation will determine if this was a domestic violent incident. And again, as I said, dispatchers tell me that 71 North should be closed through rush hour tonight. Live on your side in North Columbus, Steve Levine, ABC 6 News.
All right, Steve, thank you. Now, not long after all of that unfolded, police responded to another shooting scene on the east side along McCutcheon Road and Merwin Hill Drive. A young adult left dead inside a stolen car, multiple windows shot out, and a second person shot in the hand. Tom Bosco joining us live now from the scene, piecing it all together. Tom, what can you tell us?
Well, we do know that the scene has cleared just in the last couple of minutes, and McCutcheon Road is now open, but that was after hours of investigation. We had a stolen car, we have a young person dead, and at least one person injured. Investigators combed through this car, which ended up here off McCutcheon Road just after noon. The windows shot out. Inside the car, the body of a young man shot to death. Police say the car is stolen. It's not clear where it was stolen from or why it ended up here. But witnesses say a group of teenagers ran from the car after the shooting. Police say one person involved in the incident, who was shot in the hand, walked into Grant Medical Center downtown. Is there a connection to the rash of teen car thefts that has been plaguing Central Ohio for over a year? At this point, police say it's too early to say. One CPD official says this incident matches some of the patterns of previous. Investigators have warned this rash of thefts could lead to teens getting hurt or killed. At this point, still no identification of that person who was shot to death. We hope to learn more later. We also know that at one point police did have someone in custody, handcuffed in the back of a police cruiser. Although after about an hour or so, that person was released. It's not clear what that person's connection to all of this is. Live on the east side, I'm Tom Bosco, ABC 6 News.
Thank you, Tom. All this happening as police search for the gunman responsible for a quadruple shooting at a North Columbus bar overnight. A woman is dead, another victim not expected to survive, a third is in critical condition, and a fourth is expected to be okay. This happening just before 2 this morning at Podunk's Bar along East Dublin Granville Road. Started as a fight at the bar just before closing time. Police believe there are multiple suspects, as they say they found at least 50 shell casings in the area. There's no word on any suspect descriptions at this time.
Mayor Ginther responding to all the violence with this message on social media. He says, in part, I'm grateful for our public safety forces who responded to all of these incidents and intervened to prevent further bloodshed. Today's events prove that gun violence is a public health crisis, and it is crucial we address it every way we can, not just by catching the shooters, but by stopping the flood of illegal guns flowing into our community. And with so much happening in such a short amount of time, you're able to stay up to date with all the latest developments when we're not on the air by using our ABC 6 app. Be sure to sign up to receive alerts that will send to your phone anytime there's breaking news.
Well, we've had such a busy day, and we're about to have a busy evening of weather. We look live over downtown in Columbus, where the temps are falling, the downtown skyline obscured, and as you saw with our crews in the field doing their live reports, the flakes are falling now too. Marshall McPeak here to track it all out. Marshall?
We are changing over from rain into snow as we speak. You can see the band running just west of I-71 all the way from Cincinnati to Cleveland, and that transition line is very small. In Columbus right now, you see the east side dealing with some rain, but very quickly out here on the northwest side of Franklin County, that turns into snow showers, and then it's snow all the way back into Bellefontaine, Kenton, Bucyrus, and out toward Dayton. More of that is on the way. Winter weather advisories are in effect from Circleville to Newark and on out into Cambridge and Caldwell, but Logan, Athens, Chillicothe, and Waverly all covered by a winter storm warning, and that is because we are expecting some significant snow, especially in southern and eastern Ohio. The Columbus metro area, mainly 1 to 2, a few areas with up to 3 inches of snow by tomorrow morning. 2 to 4 from Chillicothe to Coshocton and eastern Ohio all the way up to Youngstown, with a potential of 3 to 6 inches worth of rain. You can see it coming down, and there's already snow on the ground in Springfield. Still just rain in Madison County and Hilliard. The roads are wet there with temperatures still in the 40s. As we go through the next few hours, look for that to change over into some snow. 35 by 9 o'clock tonight, down to 32 by 11. We'll show you what to expect and how much we'll shovel in a few minutes.
Thank you, Marshall. Also breaking tonight, the Columbus Zoo announcing it's approved a $400,000 settlement with former CEO Tom Stoff. It's a result of the board of directors' requirement that Stoff repays the zoo for misspending money. An attorney for Stoff released a statement saying in part, Tom Stoff agreed to resolve this matter after the zoo made clear the goal was to pursue every means possible to destroy him. Stoff only agreed to settle this now and pay money he doesn't owe out of concern for his family and move forward with his life. The zoo reached settlements with 2 other former employees back in January. Discussions with a 4th former employee are still ongoing.
As Russia expands its strikes on Ukraine, President Biden vows to keep on squeezing the Russian economy and Vladimir Putin.
Putin is an aggressor. He is the aggressor. And Putin must pay the price. He cannot pursue a war that threatens the very foundations, which he's doing, the very foundations of international peace and stability, and then ask for financial help from the international community.
The U.S. is now downgrading Russia's trading status and banning imports of seafood, alcohol, and diamonds. All of the sanctions so far have caused the Russian ruble to lose 76% of its value and has downgraded the country's rating to junk status.
Cody, if you can hear Mommy, Mommy loves you, baby. Mommy wants you to come home.
The heartbreak is still fresh 25 years later. A mother's dying plea for answers about what happened when her toddler disappeared. Coming up in 3 minutes.
Plus, serving up more than breakfast, the local restaurant helping young women who are aging out of foster care at 5:33.
I don't know how much longer I have here on this earth. I like to have some kind of closure. Hopefully see him again.
A dying mother's plea. Now 25 years to the day since her 3-year-old son, Cody Stepp, disappeared in South Columbus, there is a renewed push to find out what happened to the toddler. Here's Luann Stoya.
This is the South Side backyard where 3-year-old Cody Stepp went missing. I remember the search here, and now, 25 years later, he's still greatly missed.
This is one of my favorite pictures of my son, where he's showing Pam his little toy and Pam's taking the picture. He's just so happy. His little school bus.
Robin Stepp shows us clothing and toys from when her son was a toddler.
I remember his smile being so big and bright, and he's a happy baby, his beautiful blue eyes. You know, he loved fire trucks, Big Birds from Sesame Street. Nina, want a treat?
Robin's longtime friend, Pam Taylor, says Cody was like a son. Here's a poster that shows what Cody looked like then and what he would look like now as a 28-year-old.
It's just the wondering where he is and how he is and what kind of person he is.
That was the worst day of my life on March 11th, 97.
1997 video from our archives shows uniformed officers as well as police cadets in their sweats searching the South Side neighborhood.
Cody, if you can hear Mommy, Mommy loves you, baby. Mommy wants you to come home, please.
Robin was just hours from being released from jail on prostitution and drug charges when her son's disappearance hit the news. There are many theories about what happened, but the missing case was never closed. Stepp's mother and sister had been caring for the boy.
He's never left the yard before, so I thought he would be fine.
Since that day, Robin has never given up hope Cody might be returned to her.
I love him more than anything in this world, and I just want him back home.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is helping. Columbus police tell us they have an investigator taking another look at the case. For Robin, knowing what happened to her son is everything.
It'd be like heaven on earth. I mean, he's the best thing that's ever happened to me my whole life.
Robin is battling a terminal lung disease. Pam says even after her friend passes, she won't give up on finding Cody.
I'm doing everything I can. I want to give this closure to Robin. I don't know if she'll be here next year on this day, but that's a gift I would love to give to Robin.
Robin tells us she drinks her coffee in the morning, then prays to God for help.
I just want some closure before I go. I don't know how much longer I have left, but I just need to know. I mean, it's been 25 years. Somebody knows something.
In Columbus, I'm Lou Ann Stoya, ABC 6 News.
Breaking news just into the newsroom. ABC 6 has learned a grand jury has declined to file charges against Columbus police officer Nicholas Reardon in the death of Micaiah Bryant. You'll recall it was April of last year when she was shot and killed by Reardon as he responded to reports of a fight at a house. Police showed video showing Bryant holding a knife and going after another young woman when Officer Reardon arrived.
Today marks 2 years since pandemic pandemonium struck the U.S. It's the night basketball star Rudy Gobert tested positive for COVID, postponing the Jazz Thunder game right before tip-off. Just 51 minutes later, the NBA season was suspended. Just moments before that, Ohio State canceled the 2020 spring football game. You'll remember that game returned last year with a limited number of fans. It's back in full next month. Also, that same night 2 years ago, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson announced they tested positive in Australia, making it one of our first celebrity COVID cases. It was all capped off with the U.S. suspending travel to and from Europe for a month. Jumping forward to today, COVID still taking its toll on the country, but the numbers are dwindling. Here's a quick look at the latest numbers in Ohio. The State Department of Health reporting 198 more COVID deaths over the past 3 days. It's an average of 66 a day, making it below average. The state also reporting just under 600 new cases. That brings the 3-week average below 1,000. Also, 48 more hospitalizations reported. Now a reminder, this is the last day we'll see these daily COVID numbers. The Department of Health announced starting next week, it will only be releasing the numbers every Thursday from now on.
Ohio State's mask mandate ends in less than 45 minutes. After 6 o'clock, they'll now be optional in most indoor spaces, including residence halls and classrooms. And the university told us earlier this week that more than 93% of students and faculty are vaccinated. Well, if there was any kind of a silver lining to masks over the last 2 years, as they kept our faces warmer when the wind was blowing and the temperatures were way down.
That's very true. You've got a busy night for us tonight.
It is going to be a very different night because we've had some mild days even this week, and now the snow is moving in, and it's going to be with us through the night tonight. Take a look at what's happening down near Louisville right now. You see this band of snow moving in down here. This is actually a little bit heavier than what's around it, and that is all marching up toward central Ohio. So we do have some snow in Columbus at the moment, but more of that is on the way. The northeast side still getting some rain out of this, and that's including out in Reynoldsburg and into Pataskala and Johnstown. But from Dublin out to Plain City, going up 33, you're going to go right through the rain and into the snow. So be ready for some slick spots between Marysville and Bell Fountain. You may find a few slick spots on 70 out near Springfield. All of this is moving to the east, and we have plenty more on the way. The purple counties you see here are under a winter weather advisory until we get to 10 o'clock Saturday morning. So that includes Circleville and Lancaster, Newark, Coshocton, out into Cambridge and Caldwell. Southeastern and southern Ohio with a winter storm warning that lasts until 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Somewhere in this mess is the downtown skyline, but you can see that the rain and snow are moving in and obscuring the view already. The airport is at 36 degrees, right on the line where we can start to see that changeover. And the wind is out of the northwest at 16. Look at the difference between Athens and Columbus. Athens still at 58 degrees right now. The cold front making its way through the middle of the state right now. So your Tempstar heating and cooling products current conditions in Bucyrus and Kenton are already down into the 20s. And only getting colder from here. Your wind chill right now in Delaware down to 20, still 57 in Logan. Here's the snow for the rest of the evening. You notice the heaviest, the darker blues are out in southern and southeastern Ohio. We still get a pretty good round of snow through a lot of the metro area, especially on the east side. But the heaviest of it remains from Waverly on up into Cambridge. By early Saturday morning, that starts to taper off, but we'll have snow on the ground by then. Through a lot of the I-71 corridor 1 to 3, You could get a good 2 to 4 from Lancaster on up into Mount Vernon, and 3 to 6 in eastern Ohio as this system comes through. And that's why the winter weather advisories and the winter storm warnings are in effect. So rain changing to snow. Eventually tonight we get down to 20 degrees for the overnight low. The wind will remain strong enough that your early morning wind chills tomorrow are down into the single digits. Plus, you're likely, with some wind gusts of up to 30 miles an hour, to see some blowing and drifting early Saturday morning. Saturday stays in the 20s. The snow ends early in the day. Then on Sunday, it's still windy, but by then we jump back into the 40s. So a very different day by then. We're going to do a lot of melting on Sunday, the first day of daylight saving time. Back into the 50s Monday and Tuesday, and we're going to be close to 70 by St. Patrick's Day.
All right, thank you, Marshall. Well, it's roller coaster weather as we give you a live look at a couple of iconic coasters in Ohio. Now in 3 minutes, you have a chance to own a piece of one.
And scary moments. A first responder comes to pull a man from a burning car. The heroic rescue at 5:39.
And she's challenging the norm. The Ohio teacher who suddenly became one of the top para-triathletes in the country at 5:47.
It was brave for him to do because there's often stigma associated with mental health issues.
The story of a now retired Buckeye football player is touching so many, not only in Central Ohio, around the world. Coming up at 6, how Harry Miller's message may help save lives. Point right now, quite a view here up by the lake today, and news for you thrill seekers. You now have a chance to win, or at least own, a piece of history from America's rock and roller coast.
The park is selling collectible slices of the Wicked Twister. On the left of your screen is a look at what you can get for $215. A 1.5-inch piece of the track, along with a certificate of authenticity and some photos. The park is only selling 1,000 pieces on its website, and they're limiting it to one per customer. The Wicked Twister opened in 2002. Took one last ride this past fall and was removed from the park last month. Cedar Point has not announced what will take its place.
Still to come tonight, a restaurant owner focused on helping teens that she says are often forgotten. The breakfast spot serving up more than waffles at 5:33.
With 3 major shootings within 11 hours, one of them a shootout between police and the man they say was firing at cars on I-71 near Polaris. This video given to us by sources, and you've likely seen it all over social media today. The suspect is in critical condition, and attempted murder charges are expected to be filed. Miraculously, no one else was hurt.
Shortly after that, 2 more people shot on the east side. One found dead in a stolen car and the other shot in the hand. The search for the suspects continues tonight.
And early this morning, 4 people shot at a North Columbus bar. A woman is dead. Another person is not expected to survive. A third is in critical condition, and the 4th is expected to be okay. Police believe there are multiple gunmen, but still no arrests at this time. You can stay on top of these stories with our free ABC6 app. You'll also get instant access to local and national headlines. Just search WSYX ABC6 in your app store.
We are also tracking some significant weather for the evening tonight. You can see the band of snow and rain that's moving into central Ohio. It is going to make things pretty sloppy for the night tonight. Columbus is right on the edge of this. There's still some rain out near Newark, but it's changed to snow across the northwest side of Columbus from Hilliard on up into Powell, and we have plenty of snow out near Bell Fountain. Winter storm warnings are in effect for southeastern and southern Ohio, and a band of winter weather advisories runs from Cambridge to Newark down into Circleville and Washington Courthouse. We could end up with about 2 to 4 inches of snow before it's all over. 35 right now in Worthington. German Village, though, at 42. It's 40 in Pickerington and Groveport. Your wind chills are down into the 20s, and those are going to get much colder as we go through the night tonight. By early tomorrow morning, with some snow on the ground, we are likely to see temperatures that are in the 20s with wind chills near 0. Look for snow through most of the evening tonight. The rest of your weekend is coming up.
All right, thank you, Marshall. President Biden says that Russia will pay a severe price if Vladimir Putin uses chemical weapons in Ukraine, all while announcing new sanctions on Russia. But as Ike Ejachi reports, the attacks on Ukrainian civilians continue, as the mayor of one targeted city says hundreds of thousands of his residents remain trapped by Russian shelling.
Today, more bloodshed in Ukraine. Ukrainian officials releasing this video showing firefighters extinguishing flames at the site of a shoe factory, the site of an apparent Russian airstrike. Flames burning, cars damaged, and signs of civilian casualties surrounding the area.
Putin is an aggressor. He is the aggressor, and Putin must pay the price.
Today, President Biden warning that Russia will pay a severe price if Vladimir Putin elects to attack Ukraine with chemical or biological weapons. But he stopped short of saying if that price would include a U.S. military response against Russia. In a UN Security Council speech littered with falsehoods, Russia's ambassador to the UN accused the U.S. and Ukraine of developing chemical and biological weapons. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Linda Thomas-Greenfield called the Russian accusations lies, but went further.
It is Russia that has long maintained a biological weapon program in violation of international law.
The U.S., along with the other G7 nations and EU partners, are ending Russia's trade statuses, opening the door to higher tariffs on Russian goods and bans on certain products. The Kremlin retaliating, declaring Facebook parent company Meta an extremist organization after the company changed its hate speech policy to allow posts calling for violence against Russian forces because of the war. But a silver lining today. Remember this image of an injured pregnant woman in Mariupol following Russia's deadly airstrike on a children's hospital? She's now given birth to a baby girl. Now, here at home, President Biden says he's looking forward to signing into law a $13.6 billion military and humanitarian aid package for Ukraine that Congress just passed. Ike Ejachi, ABC News, Washington.
New at 5:30, giving help to young women aging out of the foster care system. Miles Harris shows us the local restaurant serving up more than breakfast.
One woman's love for brunch grew so strong that she decided to open up her own breakfast spot with the Waffle. However, waffles aren't the only thing that she's catering to Central Ohio. Gail Troy started the Waffle back in 2016 with a goal in mind: to make one of the best breakfast spots in Central Ohio. Now, prior to that, Troy ran a nonprofit for the youth, so she decided to combine the two.
That became my focus, to ensure that these ladies have access to these resources, but most importantly, be aware.
Beyond serving some of the best waffle sandwiches in Ohio, What the Waffle serves as an enterprise aimed at helping young women aging out of foster care.
For me to have an establishment that catered to that population. And I use the term cater because we're not a service. We're impacting lives for these young ladies.
Troy says she's aiming her help towards teens in foster care because teens are often forgotten.
This population gets lost in the cracks. Everyone is always going for the same star player or the same, these young people are all stars.
Troy aims to fix that with her business. What the Waffle hires and trains young women to teach them how to fulfill their potential in life. And of all the titles that come with owning the social enterprise, there's one that trumps them all.
My best title is mom. All these other things are just benefactors of me being a mom. So I don't get caught up in the title.
On your side, I'm Miles Harris, ABC 6 News.
Oh, we still have a lot more to get through tonight. After the break, a first responder puts himself in harm's way. Dramatic rescue from a burning car in 3 minutes.
Plus, a semi plummets off a bridge, the fiery aftermath at 5:40.
And a deputy dodges an out-of-control truck. That close call coming up at 5:41.
Prices for 3 everyday necessities could soon see a spike. I'm Atrell Nashar in Washington with what experts are predicting.
Plus, an Ohio teacher turned para-triathlete. She's now one of the best in the country in a short amount of time. Her competitive edge and message for others about pursuing their dreams at 5:47.